Hey there folks, Mooman here with a quick video detailing everything you need to know about the latest Warzone patch we got last night that affects everything from weapon adjustments to how accurate you can be. Let's dive right in. To start us off, we've got a small adjustment to the volume of the aerial gameplay elements, such as the fighter planes, the bombing runs, and airstrike kill streaks, but honestly, from what I've seen so far in game, they don't really seem to have tweaked these values too terribly much, because anytime a precision's called in, that's pretty much all I can hear still. Footsteps are drowned out, voice comms disappear, it really is quite loud, but honestly no real difference from what we heard in Verdansk when the precisions were called in, so I think we could benefit from more of a volume adjustment here, but I honestly don't think they're going to change it too terribly much. Next up on the list is a change affecting the fighter planes, where those guys are no longer able to auto-target the parachuting players. Now, I didn't experience this personally because I've been playing a bit more of the Resurgence game mode, but I did see some clips of people going on some pretty easy kill streaks in the fighter, so I think this will be a pretty welcome adjustment that'll increase the skill gap for the fighters. Next up in the bug fixes category, there's unfortunately nothing too terribly exciting here. They fixed an issue where the Vanguard operators' levels would begin at 0 instead of 1, which I guess is an issue if you care about cosmetics. They also fixed an issue causing players to be kicked for inactivity while using the static anti-aircraft gun, which I guess that would be pretty funny to see. Imagine camping somewhere so long that you get kicked for inactivity. Oh well. They also fixed an issue causing players bought back by teammates to return without access to weapons or their fists, so they're just running around with wet noodles, just able to ping. That would also suck. But if you're hoping for some more impactful bug fixes, like the audio glitches on console being patched, or the thing where the weapon model freaks out and all those jagged spikes take up the screen, well, you'll have to wait just a little bit longer. But good news, they did change the name of the M1928 to the M1912, so progress! Now, but the best part of the patch notes comes right here in this paragraph right here, where with this update, they've drastically reduced the amount of bloom on all base Vanguard weapons. And if you don't know what bloom is, basically what it is, it's a feature that makes all your bullets not hit exactly where you're aiming. There's some games like CSGO that have this type of recoil pattern, but this was the first time Call of Duty experimented with it, and I am glad that in the future they're going to be removing bloom from all the Vanguard weapons in Warzone entirely. They say this process will take time as they need to determine the adequate downsides to counterbalance the removal of bloom, which will vary based on each of the individual weapons and the types of attachments they are attributed to. So hopefully in the future you'll actually be able to shoot where you're aiming. In addition, they're also in the process of assessing the weapon ADS speeds across the Warzone weapons, which thank God, because some of those snipers take like 3 seconds to fully scope in, which is a little insane. Moving on to the weapon adjustments, we've got a pretty hefty nerf to the NZ41, which was kind of the Krew 6 of the Vanguard weapons in Warzone right now. They've got the neck damage multiplier decreasing to 1.3 down from 1.5 and a recoil increase. So this weapon is going to go from more of a long range AR to more of your sniper support or just kind of closer range. Next up for the sniper rifles, the Swiss K31 from Blackops, which you can't use right now in Caldera anyway. They're adding a second damage range to it and decreasing the minimum damage from 95 down to 80, which is a pretty hefty nerf, but kind of putting it more in line with the Kar 98. Same thing with the neck damage multiplier and the upper torso multiplier here, where they've both been slightly nerfed, so you'll just want to make sure you're hitting your headshots on the Swiss once you're able to use it again. Moving on to the submachine guns now, starting with the Tommy gun, we've got a neck damage multiplier decrease from 1.5 down to 1.3, and a maximum damage range decrease of about 4 meters from 15 to about 11 now. The Owen gun here, which was more of a slower fire rate SMG, was given some nerfs and some buffs, so we'll just kind of go through these here. We've got a maximum damage increase to 39, up from 34, but a maximum damage range decrease to 675 units, down from 850. We've also got a pretty hefty nerf to the mid damage range, decrease from 1500 down to 850. The headshot damage multiplier was buffed from 1.45 up to 1.6, but your neck damage, your upper torso damage, your left arm, your right arm, your kind of limb areas, those were all nerfed. So you'll definitely be rewarded if you're hitting your headshots with the Owen gun. The Vanguard PPSH here was kind of the unofficial tryhard meta for these last few days, but this patch gave it nerfs all across the board. The maximum damage was decreased to 23, down from 27, and the mid and minimum damage values were also decreased slightly. They also decreased the maximum damage range slightly, but a huge nerf to the middle damage range from about 20 meters down to 13 meters. Also nerfs to the neck damage multiplier, the upper torso multiplier, the lower torso multiplier, and the lower extremities multiplier. So nerfs all across the board here. It is not going to be the same gun you thought it was yesterday. Just like the PPSH, the Sten was also nerfed in its neck, upper, and lower torso damage multipliers, which brings us to our last weapon on the list, the Type 100. This seems to be about the only weapon they felt was just a little underwhelming in the damage department, so they gave it damage range value buffs, but nerfs to the neck damage multiplier. There's also a bunch of individual weapon attachment adjustments, but we're not going to go through each of those individually. The biggest one seemed to be the fire rate multiplier decrease of 23% on the SA 65mm Rapid for the Sten, And for the PPSH, a few buffs to the 30-round Goranko magazine. All in all, I'm glad they're fine-tuning the weapon balancing this early, but I'd really honestly prefer all their focus shift to fixing the major bugs, like the audio stuttering on console, the game crashing on PC, the weapon polygons freaking out, everything that is truly game-breaking. I will say if they keep up with this rate of patches with one every day, fingers crossed we'll see some nice improvements here in the next week, just in time for Rebirth Island to come back. Let me know in the comments below what you think of the Vanguard integration so far. And if you enjoyed the video, please consider hitting that like button and subscribing to the Krew for more Warzone content. You can also catch me live over on Twitch at twitch.tv/MrMooman11. As always, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.